Well, never argue with a dead person. Did I get your attention? Well, that's what Lifetime TV psychic Thomas John titled his new book. I am so thrilled that you're here with me today. How are you, Thomas?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so delighted. So, Thomas, when you were first contacted by someone from beyond, you knew you had a gift. What was that like?
Well, the first memory that I have of that is when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
My deceased grandfather came and visited me, and he gave me messages to give my family. And so I was a little boy, and I really didn't know the difference or that it was something different, but I just have always had an ability to see and sense spirit.
Wow, and I know a lot of people want to know this. I know I do. When you channel messages from deceased loved ones, how does it feel? Like, do you become that person or do you just hear them speaking? How does that work for you?
Oh, great question. So we have most mediums and psychics have what we call clairvoyance or clairaudience. So
Okay.
we'll actually hear things or see things. We might get a feeling about something. It's not really quite we become the people,
Yeah.
but we get impressions and get senses of things that are really strong that we know are connected to that person.
Wow. And how's the response from the recipient when this happens?
Well, I mean, most of the people that I encounter
Yeah.
have sought this out. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's not like I, run
Yeah.
down the street and start telling people about, dead people that are
Right.
walking around. It's more like, people are obviously seeking that out. So,
Yes.
in general, they're comforted by it, or
Oh,
it's very meaningful for them. And of course, I have faced, skeptics and
sure.
people that are not as open to that as well. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can give them a new perspective.
Of course. Very fascinating. Thomas, so I have to ask you about the title of your book, Never Argue with the Dead Person. Why should we never argue with the dead person?
Well, that's a good question. Yes. So I came up with that title because what I have found, and people ask me this a lot of times,
Yeah.
is they'll say, "Oh, are you scared about connecting to dead people?" Or,
Yes.
and I always tell people, "No, I'm not." Because really, the people in spirit, they have a new perspective,
Hmm.
and there's no illness on the other side. There's no health issues. There's no mental illness. So when they give us a message of inspiration or guidance or wisdom, it really is to help us.
Yeah.
And so I find that a lot of times they have our best interest really in mind.
I'm sure that's so comforting too. You know, Thomas, it's a real treat to have you in Saginaw on October 23rd at the Sheraton Four Points for a psychic gallery session. So what can people expect when they join you for one of these sessions?
Well, we will be there. It's actually part of a larger conference that my colleague Maria Shaw is putting on. And we are doing on the Sunday
Yeah.
from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are doing a heartfelt and healing messages gallery. So what it will be is it'll be a group reading, and both Maria and I will be there. Maria is a wonderful psychic medium as well. She's an astrologer as well. And we will be connecting with your loved ones, giving you messages. If you have questions, a lot of people come with, topics that they want to cover, somebody that they want to reach.
Yes.
And like I said, there's tons of things going on. There's psychic readers there. There's a whole area you can go shopping at. There's other lectures. So you can make a whole weekend of it. But my thing will be on October 23rd at 10 a.m. To 1 p.m. So I'm really excited about it. And even if you don't get a message, because
Yeah.
we can't read everybody in the group, but even if you don't get a message, a lot of people find it very inspirational and helpful just to kind of be in the presence of receiving messages and just kind of learning about this different, thing that is not as everyday.
I'm sure it is. Well, thank you for opening our eyes this morning and giving us this interesting, very fascinating information. We appreciate you joining us today, Thomas. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure, pleasure. And if you have any ideas on what you would like to see on our show, you can send them to us at 4 p.m. news at WNEM.com and just use the subject 4 p.m. News Spotlight.